All right, welcome everybody at the developer meeting of Bitcraze. Today is Wednesday, the 2nd of October, and today we're going to talk about how we at Bitcraze do demo-driven development, and pretty much how demos have shaped Bitcraze over the years. A lot of things that I'm going to show here are definitely way before my time. So therefore, I also asked the rest of Bitcraze to also join me. And I have a couple of slides and questions, let's say, and perhaps some pop quizzes as well. So it's going to be a bit of half presentation, half interview, half or 1/3 interview. So let's see how it goes. It's a bit of an experiment, but that's what developer meetings are for. So there we go. So I've tried to kind of, also for the blog post that I've written on Monday, I've tried to kind of like categorize what kind of demos Bitcraze usually does to kind of like showcase all of their work that we use to showcase all of our work. And it's at least like I was able to kind of like put 5 categories in there for like, for instance, like Fun Friday hacks. We have Fun Friday, so we do every Fun Friday, we do something that we like. Demos that we show during talks. The demos that we show in the booths of conferences and fairs, like, you know, the Christmas videos that we just discussed. It's also something that we use to kind of like pressure ourselves or challenge ourselves, or collaborative demos, which means is that we work with an external party outside of Bitcraze to do a demo together. So a couple of videos, for instance, like Fun Friday hacks. A couple of old ones where, for instance, here with a Kinect 2, we tried to do positioning. This was like a keychain camera that they put on the Crazy Fly. Here's a bit of, I think, perhaps a bit of OpenCV tracking. Let's see, the blimp, Crazy Blimp. I'm sure that a couple of researchers have seen that hack for sure. And I think, yeah, this was also kind of like the replay one. But I'll come back to a few of these and I will ask some questions to the rest. But this is kind of like an example of what kind of Fun Friday or office hacks we've done before. So these two are from local positioning systems. Also, we have a nice history of doing demos during talks. A bit of being a daredevils, showing actually kind of like either the positioning systems that we make for the Crazy Fly, while actually explaining it on the stage, which I categorize differently as giving a booth demo, but that's something that we can discuss, like the actual differences. And yeah, we also did online talks and regular talks without demos, although I find them a bit lame, but sometimes conferences don't let you do demos. So that's just how things are. But the question is if you want to go rogue on there. Fair and conference demos is where we have a booth and we have crazy flashes flying around while we talk to people. Depends on how automatic, like, you know, the demos within the booth is. So that has definitely also kind of like changed in the coming years. The Christmas demos that I mentioned is, well, kind of said so, where we kind of show some of the capabilities we've been working on during the year in a nice Christmas themed demo. In a nice video, of course, and a couple of collaborative demos that we've done in the past, but I don't want to go too much into it because I have a couple of questions for the previous one. So let's start at the very beginning. The blog post of the Bitcraze website, if you go to bitcraze.io/blog, go all the way back to 2012. I know that the Crazy Fly has been already existing for a little bit longer than that. I don't know if anybody can kind of like say when the actual birth of the Crazy Fly was. Arno? Oh, you're muted. You're muted by the system.
I was muted by Google, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the first Crazy Fly flew in the autumn of 2009.
2009. Yeah, that's a very long time ago. But 2011 was at least when the company Bitcraze started, but the Crazy Fly 1 has been already existing since 2009. So at least from the blog post, I saw that early 2012, you guys were really kind of like looking on how to properly control it. And I think one of the first talks you gave, maybe one of the first talks was at Autodev, which was also in 2012. Then you added a camera to it. Then you had a talk at DevVox, which I have a couple of videos of it later, which was in the UK, is a Java developer conference, as I believed. I've never heard of it before. Which kind of like the cameras improved until, of course, the outcoming of the Crazy Flight 2.0. So the first question is to those that are here. What happened at the first ORDEF? Anyone?
That's way too long ago.
It was 2012.
Yeah, but interesting thing is that back. Yeah, go on.
I might have a clue. Wasn't this the time that Arnault flew the crazy fly in Marcus' hair, or?
Ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding,
might
ding,
actually
ding.
be.
Yes, indeed. So that's what happened. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Let me just stop sharing this because I actually want to show the actual moments. But unfortunately, the Vimeo video is not working for me because it's kind of like behind some kind of thing. So I have the link right here, and people can actually look it up themselves. It's very funny to see if it works. But indeed, Arno, you flew. You weren't really paying attention and flew one crazy fly in Marcus's hair.
One might argue that Marcus was not paying attention and that he had his hair in the trajectory of my crazy fly.
Yes, that's of course also true. All right. So yeah, was that like, do you guys consider something like this, like, that's happening on stage? How do you feel afterwards? Did it feel like, oh no, what have we done? Or was it like, that was fun?
I mean, that was more fun for me than for Marcus because it got really stuck.
Yes, Marcus.
But I guess it was. Yeah.
Marcus, what is your verdict about? Did it hurt? Are you muted?
You're muted, Marcus.
Like this?
Yeah,
Yes,
you
you're
work. Yeah, we can hear you. So it was more of like, so like when it hit your head, do you still remember that, and did it hurt?
No sound.
Yeah, you're good,
Oh
Marcus.
yeah,
We
no,
can
the
hear
sound
you.
works. The sound works.
We can hear
Yeah.
you, Marcus.
Does the sound work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It wasn't that bad. It was kind of fun. I think it made the presentation memorable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, and then up to the next one. Like these are not really questions, but I guess like if anybody can just add, like, what happened here was it in DevVox UK. Is that where we actually flew with an FPV camera all over the crowds? And I guess like my question was like, did anybody kind of object, like, now I think with current restrictions, perhaps something like that would not be allowed to do that. But this was already quite impressive in the time. Did any of like issues with preparing this demo occur?
Yeah. I'm waiting for
I don't have that good memory, but
okay. I kind of do because Marcus and I were kind of freaking out there. The receiver for this FPV camera kind of broke minutes before the opening, and Tobias, always very, very calm, was like, I think it's a solder that like a wire has been desoldered, so let me fix that. So he was on stage with a soldering iron. Back then it was not USB-C powered, it was like the real big soldering iron, fixing the receiver like minutes before people enter the room.
Yeah.
That worked.
So, and then I guess also kind of the question is like, why was the camera quality of the DevVox of the year after so much more better than it was at DevVox UK? Do you guys remember what kind of difference you guys did? Tobias, go for it.
Yeah. The first one was just a streaming camera, I remember, and then they released like really small recordable cameras. so that's why it's so much better quality. So this, I don't think we had streaming on the Devox France one, right? Or we must have had, otherwise we wouldn't be live with
2014.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
on
somebody following the Crazy Fly at that point?
Yeah, it might have been actually. Yeah, maybe I did actually. Yeah, I think I'm following it.
yeah, you're following
Yes,
from
yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
Yes, 2014 is analog FPV, and yeah, you're here.
Yeah.
And 2014 is this keychain camera that started to appear,
All right.
and literally it's sticked to the top of the Crazy Fly.
All right.
But like you said, I
perhaps
didn't think about it, but this will not be possible anymore. Conferences have become much more wary of these kind of things now.
Yeah, of course. So that is something to kind of like be aware of. Like, unfortunately, you cannot really see my mouse at this point. But I guess like yeah, this kind of like shows again the timing of how things occurred, because the keychain camera was something actually that you've done a little bit earlier than that, and also kind of like also mentioned like the crazy blimp is not something that you've shown during a talk, but it's just Friday hacks. We sometimes also just do it without an actual, let's say, benefit. I have to show this. Sometimes it's just like fun to do, and maybe something can kind of get out of it. And
yeah, the blimp was not even on Friday, because I don't know if we were doing Fridays back then.
I think you were doing all week hacks.
Yeah, this was just like there was in the co-working space we were working at, there was a party, and there was a helium balloon.
It was at the Mink.
At Mink, yeah. So we stole as many helium balloon we could at the end of the party, and starting hacking a blimp out of it.
All right. So that was 2012, 2014, and 2015 and 2016 is when things really got crazy in terms of demos, or showing demos, let's say. Because you also kind of like started to do things with OpenCV and but like a vision-based positioning as well, and started going to maker fairs. So this was, I think, the one for the Kinect 2 that you used for positioning here on the top, and with like the glove that you guys used, at least like for the Andrino and like type of hackathon. At one point, you showed also kind of like a demo at one of these maker fairs together with like one of these glove manufacturers, some demo as well. So yeah, it was also Maker Faire in New York, Maker Faire Berlin. I don't know if there was any Maker Faire before that time. Oh yeah, there was. Also kind of a time that you guys started to experiment with the local positioning system. I don't know if it was like in 2015 or if you already started earlier. At least like the blog post that I showed like at the end of 2015. But when did you guys start with the local positioning system? Can you?
Oh, the exact date I cannot remember.
Was it before Maker Faire Berlin and New York, or?
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah.
I know that there has been kind of a wish to have any kind of positioning system, because around 2015 we had a pretty stable flying Crazy Fly, but it was a manual flight for us as well, and we have had a wish to make a positioning system for it. So with webcam tracking the Crazy Fly, webcam tracking an AR marker on the Crazy Fly, I've experimented, and then the ultra wideband radios came along. I think someone showed it to Marcus at some point, and we're like, okay, let's try that. Bought a couple of them and starting testing, and that's where we started working really seriously with this ultra wideband positioning system.
Marcus, then I have a question for you. Like, do you remember where you saw the ultra wideband positioning system for the first time?
I was talking to some other tech people that tipped me off about it.
Yeah. Was it at an event or was it just at Mink?
I was at a meeting with some other people.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. All right.
But
so
this period for us, this period for us is really a big search for a positioning system. Kinect as well. We were very excited about the Kinect. Unfortunately, it was never good enough to track on big space, but we tried anything we could to get any positioning system that was not a mockup because we did not have the money for a mockup.
Yes. All right. And also kind of like, oh yeah, I forgot to say, like at least with the Crazy Fly 1, you guys already did a small Christmas video. I already said that I think it's nice to kind of save the Christmas video for a Christmas themed developer meeting. But at least like this was still a manual flight. So no positioning system yet until later. All right. So Maker Faire 2015, I think 2015 Berlin. So first question, what were people looking at here? Can somebody describe the booth on this picture?
Yeah, I remember this. We were using the camera. I think we were using the camera or the Kinect, and we had a problem, but the demo worked perfectly before lunch because of the light in the room. And then in the afternoon, it stopped working. I think, or the other way around. It was working in the it wasn't working in the morning, and then when we tried to debug it in the afternoon, it was working.
Yeah,
Either way, we ended up. Yes, I think this is just the Crazy Fly hanging in a string.
And yeah, moving around.
Yeah.
Yes, because you can see on the bottom there is an AR marker there. So there's a webcam facing down.
Yeah.
And there's an augmented reality marker, and OpenCV has these PNP algorithms where if you present an augmented reality marker, you get the full pose of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were using that as a local positioning system. But yeah, now I have, I remember, that was horrible. I mean, it worked really awesome at the office. We're super excited. Then it worked really well when we set up the booth, and optical system sucks. Then the light comes in the wrong direction, and we never could make it work while everyone was around.
Yeah. That is, I guess, like the whole thing about office only to booth. I guess what is like the main lesson that you guys learned of like, you know, preparing these type of demos?
Don't trust optical system? Maybe?
Yeah, I think the environment. I mean, we've been in places where the AC was a problem. All of a sudden, we had to set up the demo in front of a fan, but kind of made the Crazy Fly drift all the time. Light, radio, and yeah. Sometimes it's hard to reproduce the same demo when you're at a conference where there's a lot of things happening.
And I guess the second question is like, you know, seems that only Arno and Marcus were there, but where were Christopher and Tobias at the time?
No idea.
Working. I don't know. But I've been to Berlin once. Have we been there twice?
Yes.
I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it New York at the same time? No.
Almost the same time.
Yeah, exactly. That was it. Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard of New York. Yeah, there was some wind, right?
Yeah, like yeah, I guess it kind of also gives away what was exactly the problem here in this picture. And why was Tobias still smiling?
I think we had this or similar problems, but with gust now. So since it was open venue, which we did not understand from the beginning, there was a headwind blowing through the tent, and it was like we had to do the same thing, just hang the Crazy Fly in the rig, sort of.
All right, so I guess like it was even more extreme circumstances than the rest.
Yeah.
All right, and I also have like this nice picture or this nice video as well of somebody controlling the Crazy Fly. What are they using to control the Crazy Fly with? Was it the Maker Faire Berlin 2016?
Yeah, this was a MIDI controller as a glove. And this is typically this kind of thing we cannot do anymore because they will never accept us to fly outside, or at least that we could do at Maker Faire, we cannot do at scientific conferences, like flying outside. And I mean, there was one of them, our neighbor's booth, they made a MIDI controller as a glove. and we started talking. We had MIDI support for running our demo, because that was at some point we used MIDI as a backbone for the demo to control. So one computer was controlling another one using MIDI message. So it was fairly easy to hack control of the Crazy Fly using their gloves. That was quite fun.
Was this a hack on the spot?
Yes.
Or all right. So
Yeah, it was
like
hack
it
on
was
the
not
spot.
pre-planned or anything. It was just.
No, I think we met one day, and the day after we did that.
Okay. That's yeah. Yeah, at this point, you guys also showed the local positioning system. So this is actually flying with the local positioning system, controlling it with the glove.
Yeah, and one that actually shows one of the advantage still of the local positioning system is that, contrary to optical system, you can't fly outside of the box. I mean, you lose accuracy the further away you go, but yeah, we couldn't do that with an optical system, because optical systems tend to have very strict boundaries. So local positioning seems nice for that.
Yes. Do you remember who was at the booth at that time from Bitcraze?
I remember seeing the gloves, so I guess I was.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the one I joined as well. So I think we were all of us, or 4 at least, and Christopher. And yeah, I think Björn was there as well.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
we all went.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Berlin is not so far, so.
No.
So in the sense of like we haven't really gone to Maker Fairs for a long time, but if anybody could perhaps like tell a little bit about the Maker Faire experience, if nobody has gone to those, like how are they different to like the academic conferences that we currently go to mostly? I'll give it to Tobias.
I mean, it's much more playful, I would say. I mean, it's all about hacking around and showing your stuff off that you built over the year. Yeah, it's more fun in that sense, I would say. The other conference, I think, is more professional sort of thing. So pretty different. But yeah, at one point they closed them down. But I think they're open now again. Maybe we should go to one.
Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, when we started the Crazy Fly, we were one of the first very, very small drones like this being sold, way before small toys, actually. I like to believe that maybe toys manufacturers were inspired by Crazy Fly. Maybe not. And so people at the Maker Faire were part of our crowd. And even when that was not the case anymore, because it's not the case anymore, we continue going because it was so much fun. But at some point, we had to make a choice that, yeah, it was more efficient and maybe better for us to go to more serious. Not that the Maker Faire is not serious, but it's maybe less playful conference where we can meet our customers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I kind of miss it.
All right, so let's move on into history, 2017, 2018. Because, yeah, that's indeed also one of the hacks of the augmented reality markers that you've played around, but seems to have been abandoned because I haven't seen it back at any of the conferences after. It's also when you went to first time ICRA, and that was in Singapore. It's actually the ICRA that I didn't go to. So that was kind of like a couple of facts, like local positioning system for sure, but then with the replay that Christopher made. One more Maker Faire in Shenzhen. And at least like also still continued of the Christmas videos, some collaborations still with and still some office shows as well. Yeah, and then Lighthouse is actually kind of a question. Where did you find out about the Lighthouse project, Arno?
Yeah. Maker Faire area. So way before that.
Yeah.
There was this very little table, not so far from our booth, with a woman knitting and some people hanging around. And it happens that this was a Valve booth. and they were showing a prototype of their new tracking system for, I don't know if it was, they told us it was for VR back then, but that's where we discovered about that. I mean, that Valve was working on the system and that we could see it working, and we were very, very impressed. And then when the system came, I know it's in 2017 because we went to buy the VR, the HTC Vive in a local shop here. The week I got married actually, so I could buy the VR, set it up at the office, and then I had to fly back to France, so I could never actually play with it. Very frustrating. I was getting married, so it was okay, I guess. And that's when we really started working with the Lighthouse, starting first prototyping receivers on a Fun Friday, and yeah, then it got rolling.
Yeah, and then you guys showed it on IROS in 2018 in Madrid, our favorite conference. And
where we met other people.
We met other people, indeed, yes.
That were using the Lighthouse, that were interested about the Lighthouse, did some tests in real time with them. Always very interesting, this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think also the Christmas demo after that was also with the Lighthouse system as well. But let's save that for another time. Yeah, also some collaboration demos. I think was mostly motion capture local positioning system. I think there was the Polyhack one in ETH Zurich.
Yes.
Was also around the time, and then also kind of like collaboration with Policies. But you've also Bitcraze still gave a live talk for real. So let's see if the video works here. Arno, could you perhaps tell a bit of what you showed the audience at FOSDEM in 2017?
Oh, it was just the local positioning system. So we did set up the local positioning system in the room at FOSDEM, and then we could fly the Crazy Fly. One fun thing I can remember is that this FOSDEM is in university, so you have these sliding blackboards, and the anchors were attached to the blackboard, and the blackboard was just up. And yeah, what I'm doing right now is that I'm doing something that I have never tested before, but I tend to do this kind of thing. I get over enthusiastic and trying to move the anchors while the Crazy Fly were flying to show that if you change the geometry, yeah, the Crazy Fly will move. It worked out. It was pretty stable, so that's nice.
Yeah, it was. I guess it's going to be quite small to actually see it, but let's see if I can maybe make it a bit bigger here. Seeing the Crazy Fly. Yeah, the Crazy Fly is is that 1 pixel. If anybody can see it. So it's nice to see that the client hasn't changed that.
No, the client never changed.
Never changed. Yeah. So
we suffered through making it once, and that's it.
Hey, Arvis.
Arvis, yeah, that was using ROS actually.
Yeah, that was the external positioning estimate, right? Where you would actually submit all the.
I can't remember at which stage it was back then actually. But yes, yeah, for a while the positioning was calculated in the PC in ROS.
Mm-hmm. No, with ROS 1 at the time because ROS still didn't exist. But yeah, they do also have very nice tools as well.
I mean, Arvis is the best part of ROS.
Of course. All right. And then I have a question to all of you guys. Let's first look at the video. So this is kind of like a swarm show that you try to do with the quality system. But what exactly went wrong here? Because not all of them survived this ordeal. Can somebody answer that?
That's what you get when you don't have a simulator. Basically.
Tobias.
Was it because we all sent them to 0 first, or was it because we swapped around the places so they sort of all tried to go through the central line to get
I'm
to
not-
the new place. I can't remember what.
I'm not sure about
what
this
the
one.
real-
Yes.
Yeah, but it was one of these.
I mean, all to zero we have done once.
Yeah.
It looks like a fountain. I remember 9 crazy fly taking off and all going to zero. And that looks like a fountain of crazy fly just flying around. Again, that's what you get if you don't have simulator.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can we get a replay? It was beautiful.
Of course.
Thanks.
This has absolutely nothing to do with the Qualisys mocap system. It was purely our own failure in
Yes.
this.
Yeah, it's written Quasys on the back, but it's Bitcraze. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, this is
That's the
Bitcraze
programming.
failure. Absolutely. Yeah. So, Marcus, I'm not able to see your video, but if there's any point you want to pitch in, just just raise your hands and I can give
Will
you the
do.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't part of this one.
No, exactly. But
No.
it's more of yeah, with Arno and Tobias, I can kind of see indeed if they want to say something or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's continue. So like in 2018, Iros in Madrid, our most favorite Iros with my nice tablet. Yes, that was the one with the tablet.
Oh yeah.
That's not mentioned in the tablet. So how many positioning systems did you use at the booth of the Iros 2018?
I think this is one when we had all 3.
All 3. Positioning and mocap. All 3 in a tiny booth. So I think this is just a particular lighthouse.
Yes.
So was that maybe a little too many for a booth, you think? Or how much preparation time was it to set everything up?
I don't know. I think it was the right amount. I think this is also this year that we had the crazy fly touching the back. How to call it? The backdrop.
The roll down or
The roll down. Thank
roll
you.
up. Yeah.
Touching the roll down over and over and over again. Like I got really scared because the spiral trajectory was really fast and we were just touching the roll down with the propeller. But then we discovered that it was doing it over and over again, exactly the same way, without crashing. So we kept it like this. And it was a really cool demo to show that, see, this is how accurate it is. It always touches it the same way.
Which positioning system did you guys show off the most at the conference?
I can't remember for this one, actually.
I think Qualisys, since we went there with Qualisys, I think.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
Or no, maybe it was the lighthouse, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I can't remember for this one.
Okay, I'm going to have a question for Marcus, if you can answer. There was also the one point when you showed the LPS system crashing. That you show the LPS system, for some reason the crazy fly sometimes just crash and you didn't know why.
At this fair?
I think it was at this fair. It might be another fair.
Yeah, this fair I wasn't at, I think.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you mean the radio interference.
Yeah. But do you remember what people were complaining about at when they came back?
Yeah, there was a problem with interference from ultra wideband, from some other ultra wideband equipment. But when this was being used, the crazy fly would just flip over and crash, I think, right?
Yeah, there was a dude with a really cool, actually, robot that was designed to help elderly people. So it was one of these things that help you to walk, but that was robotized and could come to you. And the way to call it was to press a button on a remote control. And this remote control was ultra wideband and was using exactly the same ultra wideband as us. And we had noticed during the first days that sometimes, I mean, often it works really great, but sometimes just flip and crash. And eventually, I think the last day, we realized that each time this dude did a demo for someone and push a button, our crazy flight just crashed. So yeah, which we're not used to because normally no one is using that around us, of course.
Yeah, well, it's at least like, those things you will only find out if you do the demo outside of the office, right?
You need to
And
get
that
out
was
in the
maybe
world.
also the last time we used the local positioning system in the booth setting. All right, let's continue to 2019 and 2021. What happened here? Who knows? Nobody knows. So some common office hacks, some playing around with the lighthouse system. I don't know if you remember this bit. The picture above was when I added. So technically, it's a collaborative hack, I guess. But yeah, and also kind of like to kind of try out like swarming demos and show demos as well. ICRA Montreal in 2019. So then there was already with the charger systems, and it was like a fully optimized demo with only the lighthouse this time, which was perfected a little bit for IROS 2019. So I think for ICO 2019, it was me, Arno, and Christopher. It was my first conference as being part of Bitcraze. And at IROS, it was Marcus and Tobias.
Yeah.
So for ICRA, it was pretty uneventful, like the demo. But for IROS in Macau, were there any issues that occurred over there?
No, I think this was one of the first where we were next to the AC somehow. So we were constantly flying in this wind from AC, and this affected the demo, I remember.
And how did you be able to kind of like solve that, or was it just like just an acceptance of constantly picking up the crazy flies?
I think we solved it, right? I think it was okay. I think everything was just offset a bit.
I remember us fixing it a bit, but not completely. There was a lot of picking up crazy flies. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So always ask where the AC is then.
Yeah.
Then we had the Christmas demo as well. Let's save that for the Christmas win. Oh yeah, by the way, something happened in the middle. COVID happened. Yeah. And when COVID happened, what was the thing that we weren't allowed to do anymore? Travel. So yeah, that was a bit too bad. So there was a couple of online talks we did, and we even worked from home a bit. So we took the Lighthouse system and used it for home. We did the Hyper demo. I have some questions about that, and also did the Christmas video at home as well. Let's see. I flew a SOAR in my kitchen. We had the BAM days to at least be able to get some inspiration without us traveling. But yeah, booths at conferences and fairs were kind of done, but the BAM days were kind of like a mix of all of that, let's say, to kind of like get both the experience of talking to people, getting inspired, showing our own stuff, other people showing their stuff. That's why I kind of added it to all of the lines, let's say. And also because it was the 10-year anniversary of Bitcraze as a company. And the Christmas videos. All right, so we have here a light painting. Which painting is this? And what still needed to be improved at the lighthouse system at this point?
I mean, that's Christopher's team, Mona Lisa, that I can remember.
Yes.
I mean, it looks perfect to me. Don't see any problem. What do you mean improve?
Anybody?
No, but I remember it being warped, right? The system. I think it was warped. So it's supposed to be straight.
Yes. Well, this was a kind of like an office demo that we kind of were. Yeah, we came to the conclusion that at least the lighthouse base station geometry estimation needs to be a little bit improved, because like indeed like the plane of origin was kind of like a bit off like this. So it was a bit, because we only use 1 point of the positioning to actually have. But at that point, I think it was in 2019. So there was still, I think, some positioning geometry estimation of something else was being used at that time. I don't remember which one.
It is possible that this was still using Vive calibration, which is very good, but it's designed for VR. And Steam VR is constantly calibrating system while the player is moving around. So for them, having it a little bit off to start with is not a problem, because when you move around, they will constantly adapt it, which doesn't work out for us because we want a fixed system. So I guess that's where we realized that, okay, we need to do better. I mean, already not using Vive or Valve's algorithms was needed because we wanted a system that works by itself, but that also showed us that we needed something much better.
Yeah. We should maybe redo this demo at one point with the latest geometry.
It would be
estimation.
interesting to see if our current calibration is much better at.
Yeah, we should do this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and then the hyper demo was the demo that we did to kind of make sure that we still be able to kind of like challenge ourselves in order to do things. And how many positioning systems did we use here, and how, like, you know, which ones did we did, and where were they placed?
I mean, do you consider the motion sensing to be a positioning system?
It's a relative positioning system.
Yeah. So 4? 5? No, 4. Yeah, 4.
Well, technically it was 3.
3. We didn't use qualities there.
No,
Yeah.
we used lighthouse in 2 locations. So like here's the video hand. So we used lighthouse here, like in the meeting room, lighthouse in the arena, then here on the corner, let's say.
The corridor.
Because it's kept on crashing on this corner. I don't know if you remember. So we needed some improvement there. We had ultra wideband, like the loco nodes here in the hallway. And of course, like in the flight area, the ones that were already there. And like the initial part after it leaves the meeting room with the flow deck, it was using like the initial meeting room with the lines of positioning system. It was using the flow deck. So yeah, that was also kind of like a lot of things. It was fun to do, but this was like something that we could only do during COVID time, let's say. Yeah, so like I said before, like there's so many demos, like, you know, to show. And like, you know, if we actually show something like this, like it's going to be full 3 hours. So for the last couple of years, I'm just kind of giving it like a quick overview, and we have a couple of extra discussion points that we can kind of discuss. But or else like this dev meeting would have been way too large. So like 2022 to 2024 is that's like, you know, when we finally slowly came back to conferences and fairs, going to IRLs and ICRA and ICRA again, starting from 2022, where we kind of, let's say, more perfected this fully autonomous.
Looking down again.
So like this fully autonomous swarm demo, where currently it is possible for them to kind of communicate peer to peer, avoid each other without even like the computer saying which one can take off. So that is completely, that's kind of like a very cool technology wise in terms of what it can do. It's just a little bit difficult to explain to people. And then also like the addition of the equationfied brushless and improved motors, which at least, like, you know, reduce the flipping. I think probably the improved motors would have probably also helped with the draft issues that you guys were dealing with like a while ago, and added more decks, of course, like for instance, like the expansion board camera deck that you showed at, I think was ICRA 2024. Yeah, so like we still have like 15 minutes still left, but I think it's probably also getting good to have a couple of discussion points, and I guess like the first one is like what do you guys think is better, like to do demos during talks or demos in booths at conferences? Like what is the most effective in terms of development of learning in development wise?
I guess the booth has been the most fruitful because we fly surprisingly little, the crazy flies, at the office. So this allows us to use them quite a lot and to see them in a kind of stress environment. So we usually learn a lot running crazy flies in booth and doing demos in booth. And also, since we get bored if there is no one passing by, it has happened, we tend to spice the demo as well, which is pretty fun.
Remember at IMF 2019 or no, that we were we were kind of bored there, and then we made them all fly 9 of them at the same time because we were allowed to fly without a net there.
Yes, that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
And it worked for a while.
I should look up the video for that. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, another conference, we started putting furniture in the booth. So putting chairs in the cage to see if the crazy fly could fly in between the legs of the chair, and also to show people it was very early in the lighthouse life, so it was to show that losing line of sight was okay for a while.
That was the early lighthouse. Like I think it was ICRA 2019 that we tried that out.
Yeah. And it's very, very interesting. I mean, you learn things like with this chair thing, we had the same effect that the crazy fly was always touching the chair exactly the right way over and over again. But then I changed crazy fly and this one was not touching anymore. So I realized, oh, so there is some drift with, I mean, different motors and everything. So you learn stuff. It's awesome.
Yes. What does Marcus or Tobias think? Like, booth for talks?
I mean, during talks as well, you have the demo devil always, which can be stressful. So I vote for booth as well, and it's a good sort of eye catcher, or I mean, you can, make people want to see what's happening. So I'm in for booths.
I think for talks, what we tend to do is to start. We do the basic stuff. After the basic stuff passes, we escalate. Like we try to do more and more and more, and then if it fails, it fails. But at least you did the basic stuff.
All right, so it's more of like start easy with the demos during the talks. Yeah, and I guess like it also doesn't help that talks don't want you to do live demos anymore. So sad.
Yeah.
Unless it's online, of course. Like for Robotics Developer Day, at least that was like it's at your office, so it's our. But yeah.
And I would say like what you did at some point doing a demo in the kitchen, that's very impressive in a sense that it shows that the platform can be used anywhere.
Oh, you mean the swarm in the kitchen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't you do that at some point? So
yeah, I did. Yeah, it was like I will find the video later indeed. But yeah, indeed, it's that was also kind of cool. And I guess like also kind of like a point is like what is the because a lot of people are I guess afraid of showing demos at any point during talks or like booths or something like that. It seems by the sense of that it might show some downsides of the system or that it will fail. Yeah, like what is typical things that failures that actually has progressed a part of like what Bitcraze was working on, like with the local positioning system or the lighthouse system. That's like, okay, that failed. Let's improve it for the next time.
But I think that a lot of the time when you develop stuff, you tend to test it just quickly and see that it works. And then we start trying to use it for a full day, and we see that it doesn't work for a full day. And then we keep improving it until it does. So I think for us, it's been really a really good experience to try to make the demos run for a full day, flying and trying to minimize the maintenance that we need to do so we can keep talking to people during the fair. I think it's been a challenge, but it's been really worth it, I think.
All right, I think I'll just skip the other, and then just the last question maybe. So like, well, what do you guys think? I think it's a question for all three. It's like, what is more important during demos? The technological advancement or the aesthetics? Like, you know, how cool it looks as a demo.
But for technological advancement, I would say. I think so. Yeah.
But with a wow factor.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
I
You
mean,
can
we
have both.
always kind of want to push a boundary, and it's always been very hard for us because we've been talking over and over again about how going to conference takes a lot of time because setting up the demo takes a lot of time. It's like, okay, this time we just run the last demo, but we always do something more, which is great because then we we improve also. Then we make full use of the conference. So yeah, we always want to do more and to show more during these demos. And we're very lucky to be in the field that, like, I mean, our customer can appreciate a lot of the complexity of what we do. So people we show it to will understand how cool the technology is.
Tobias?
I think Arnaud said it well. I mean, I like aesthetics as well. So, but like, I mean, the swarm demo, it's like looking at a fish tank. You become mesmerized and just stop there for like what's going to happen next. And I think that's an awesome demo in that sense.
Yeah, I guess you're talking about the big local show, indeed.
Yeah, Kelly. Yeah. No, I know. I'm thinking about the swarm demo we do at the IROS and the fairs. So, yeah, the fully decentralized swarm demo
with collision avoidance.
Yes, yeah.
So perhaps also for the newer Bitcrazers among us, I think like Rick and Barbara, of course, you're only slightly newer than I am, so it's not. But
Barbara was there in London with me, and we had 1 full day without any crash.
Yes.
So it was hype.
But I guess like also kind of like that they can pitch in a bit, like, you know, is it because what I'm trying to kind of like aim for is like our current demo is technologically it's really cool, peer-to-peer onboard local, like, you know, onboard collision avoidance between different members and everything like that. It's a really cool decentralized demo. It's just very difficult to explain. Is it perhaps to a point that it's maybe not super handy to have the like something as technological advanced as is to show that at an booth?
Yeah, that's a fair point. But I think drones are still really cool. So people come to look at it. And like Arnaud said, a lot of the people that we meet at fairs, they're so interested in technology that they ask about what's going on. And I do think they can appreciate it. But yeah, looking at some of the videos you've shown today, I'm thinking like, damn, we should do Messenger controller again. It looks so fucking cool. So I don't know. But yeah, it's a bit harder to explain, I guess, right now. Yeah.
And it's also perhaps maybe it's getting like Arno, you were very happy that the demo was so perfect last time you were with Barbara. However, is it now a little bit too boring, the demos?
Yes, there's always a balance, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But somehow it feels like the conference has become more crowded. Because when I just talked about us getting bored and spicing it up, the last couple of conferences, we did not have the opportunity to do that. It was just full on all the time. So yeah, then maybe a boring demo unfortunately is better. Or maybe we should go more people to the conference so we can
That's also
have one
possible.
one
Depends on the
person
amount of
hacking in
people.
permanence.
Yes. I think I'm going to close it off a little bit, since we're going to go to Roscon,
Mhm.
and I hope at least the booth that we're going to have there is going to be crowded, but not as crowded that we're not allowed to do any more hacking. And at least that we meet some people there that are willing to hack with us. Let's see. It's yeah, not exactly the same as Maker Faire, but I'm sure that people are open for looking at some cool stuff. Does anybody else have any more questions, let's say, for like any of the externals that joined? Like, do you have any questions for like the Bitcraze old-timers / newcomers about how we use demos in our development? Is there any externals still left? There are. Or is there any demo that I specifically forgot that I should have mentioned?
No, but if I can maybe just like to answer the question, how do we use it in our development? I mean, since we always want to show the greatest and latest, it has forced us to stabilize things in a way. It has forced us to use the latest functionality and to push the boundaries a little bit. So yeah, that has been over the year. Demos has been a nice way to push what we're doing, and also looking back at demo, you can see what we were interested into. Like you can see this crazy Wild West. We want any positioning system, period. Then settling down on how we finally have one with LPS, and then slowly transitioning to Lighthouse and doing more and more autonomous things with Lighthouse, because we've seen that these early demos are very hard to manage. We could barely talk to people or getting running. We had to choose basically. So that's what.
Yeah, I
pushed us to
didn't
make
know
it
that you
to
guys
summer.
were actually just use strings. I didn't read the blog post
And
close enough.
yeah, and also you can also see like the first fully autonomous was with one PC controlling them, and then slowly making it fully autonomous, because that's when everyone started doing decentralized Swarm. So people ask us about it, like, can we do peer-to-peer? Then we implement it, and then we're like, okay, now can we use it in a creative way to help ourselves for our demo?
Yes.
So
Yeah, definitely. Like when I looked through like the entire history of Bitcraze, is that's definitely like the trend that you could see from the like a couple of things of like technologies that they focused on, and of course like some of the office hacks that never really got through, but that's fine. That's how innovation goes, right? Like there's a couple of things that like suddenly that you find out. That's why usually we show so much during demos and booths. Like we show a lot of things at the same time, because maybe one of these things like is what really interests people, or maybe one of these things really stick out or is very easy to do during booths. So it's during these demos. So it's like. But yeah, there are so many demos that Bitcase has done, and it was very ambitious of me to try to kind of cram that in one presentation, so that was not possible. I think like at one point we could, for instance, focus on like the booth demo that we've done specifically on the lighthouse itself, or like the progression of the local positioning system, or for instance like the crazy fly, the crazy Christmas videos. Those are also kind of like really interesting as well. But I think it's at least like you guys helped a lot out of kind of like getting the backstories of when things happened and during these booths and demos. So thanks a lot to
Yeah.
Marcus, Arno, and Tobias for that. And I
Ah,
hope that
thank
the
you.
rest
It was a
also.
great overview.
I hope that everybody also kind of get like a nice, at least like some kind of like idea of how demos have shaped us as a company and also our products. All right, so then it's now 4 o'clock, so I would like to end it now. And yeah, have a great Wednesday.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.